अभी पितृपक्ष चल रहा है. You come from the world of science, and how does science and pitrupaksh make sense to you?
My soul is like a jigsaw puzzle with many pieces. When a soul dies and is stuck in 4D, a few of their fragments is reborn. Because every lineage gets an opportunity to end patterns. Our generation forward are not carrying those patterns.
Welcome on Roar with Sneha. Dr. Ramon, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. It's 2025. What is happening to the earth?
This is very clearly defined even in our Gita and in our scriptures. This year, humanity has a mandate: either evolve or die. People feel spiritual awakening is very fancy. It starts off in the darkness. Currently, we are globally going through the dark night of the soul.
We all are scared of AI. If you go to see, because people are losing their jobs because of AI, people are getting into relationships with robots. Also for therapy, somewhere or the other, humanity is dependent on AI. It's all about fear with AI. Are machines going to be ruling our life?
AI is the most lowest form of intelligence. Human beings, whatever they put in, it's only a 3D matrix. So how does AI know about what's out of the matrix?
People are so scared of Sadesati. Those 7.5 years where it teaches you all your life lessons.
If you know it's coming and you know your game, play it before the planets play you, and 7.5 years rather than suffering, you'll be blessed by the planet. We are moving towards a Satyug. All the new souls that are choosing to come into the planet will only choose wombs that are already healed. And that is the reason why a lot of people are not conceiving.
What happens when you actually die?
Few hours before your death, you get this sense.
Hey you, welcome on Roar with Sneha. I am your host Sneha Desai, and before we get into today's episode, if you are somebody who wants to expand their mind, heal their heart and grow into their highest self, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because in every episode we are going to help you become the best version of yourself. In today's episode, we are going to be talking to Dr. Ramon Lamba. She has a PhD in quantum physics, and she's also a healer and a therapist. And I mean, what makes her beautiful is that she backs spirituality with science. And the intention of today's episode is to understand the science behind Pitrupaksh, astrology, AI, and so much more. I have a lot of questions, and I absolutely loved the answers that she gave, which is all backed by science. And I promise you that if you watch this episode till the end, it is definitely going to change the way you see the world. So let's roar. Namaste. Welcome on Roar with Sneha. Dr. Ramon, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. So the first thing that I would like to ask you, because it's 2025, and मुझे लग रहा है कि looking at the condition outside right now, there's so much uncertainty. Wars हो रहे हैं, कहीं पे floods हो रहे हैं, कहीं पे fire लग रहा है. I mean, there's so much fear in humanity. Why is there sudden havoc outside? Like, what is happening to the earth?
Thank you so much, Neha, for having me over. And I think this is really exciting for me also. When you understand the entire cycle of human evolution, you must recognize that the universe functions from something called recycling. The old cycles have to end for the new cycles to be born. So it's like a recycling process. And this current paradigm that we've stepped into, and I'm talking about from this shift started about 2 decades ago, right? And this is very clearly defined even in our Gita and in our scriptures, that this cycle, the yuga, changes after 26,000 years.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean? It simply means that there is a central sun, and then all the planets, including the sun, take 26,000 years to make one cycle around the core central sun. And then the dimension changes or the yuga changes, right? So when you understand the universe from the 0 dimension to the 12th dimension, human life starts at 3D. And then 4D is a transit dimension.
The
and
3D is the material world that we
the
live
world
in.
of matter, solid structure, and the 3-dimensional world that we can see that has 3 dimensions. We can feel, touch, see, solidity is present here.
Yes.
But as we move forward, this materialism dilutes into nothingness, into non-materialism, and it keeps diluting. So after the 7D, it's a non-physical world, the 7 dimension. So below the 7 dimension, like it's 3D, 5D, and then 7D. 4D and 6D are transitional dimensions, like layover dimensions. So if I want to transit in consciousness from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension, the 4th dimension is like a transit tunnel or a darker dimension that I have to move through, because that gives me a chance for me to let go of all the density I've been carrying in my body and in my soul. See, because consciousness by default moves upwards. It's light. Now, if I'm carrying a lot of, in my word, I call it kachra, in my soul, imprints in my soul, unprocessed energy, so then I always stay more dense, more downward in the 3D. So if I want to move towards 5D, the first thing is I will have to go through a darker dimension of 4D so that I can see my darkness, release it, become more light, and then go upward. So the more light I am, the more I go upward, because we are pure consciousness. And by nature, consciousness is meant to move upward towards the light, right? So Mother Earth has transitioned from 3rd dimension to 5th dimension. In the year, the evolution, the shift started in the year 1989, and 2012, when they predicted the world would end,
Yeah.
right? She just touched the 5th dimension because she's moving and Mother Earth is rotating.
So when you're saying that the earth is got into its 5D, जब आप ये बात कर रहे हो, so are you talking about the vibrational
Yes.
frequency?
It's all about frequency and
Frequency. So
vibration.
3D and 5D
Yeah.
is a frequency, and 4D is the tunnel, as you're saying.
That's also frequency.
That's also frequency.
It's also frequency. So today, if I measure the Earth's electromagnetic frequency
Okay.
at what she's vibrating at versus 30 years back, you'd see a huge shift in the frequency. So she's vibrating at a higher frequency now.
Okay.
And now, because we as a species are living in the womb of Mother Earth, it's a mandate for us to align with her frequencies.
So we are meant to increase our vibration.
Yes,
Because we are
that's the
living-
mandate.
Yeah, that's a mandate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this started for all of humanity. The shift started in the year 1990. However, a lot of light workers went through the shift. Like if I look at my life, there was a sudden external force triggered into my life and my spiritual awakening started. But I did not know that this was happening. And then obviously because I'm meant to have the wisdom, it came to me. Then the next progressive shift for humanity came in 2012, where a
Okay.
whole mass of people had to evolve. But the ultimate trigger for evolve or die was 2020 when COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
That was also a spiritual gangster. You know, it just invaded our lives to create that shift.
So COVID was more to do with spirituality. Like it.
See, you must understand, whatever is happening in our universe, in every dimension there's a perspective. So if people look at it from a 3D perspective, they'll say, okay, this was politics and this country did this virus was man-made.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I look at it from a higher dimension, from a perspective of a 5D or a 7D, I just see the good in all. I see that there's good in everything and it's here for a purpose, because I only believe one thing, that whoever this intelligence is, you call it God, you call it infinite white light, this energy doesn't want to punish us. It's only for our highest good. But we want to see it from a very diluted version. So then we say it's political and all of that. But I truly believe COVID was a very big catalyst for change.
Okay.
And this year, because number 9, 2025, total number 9 is about old endings. This year, humanity has a mandate, either evolve or die. And when I'm saying die, it doesn't mean literal dying, but then just suffer.
Yeah.
Because people are so stuck in their old patterns, in their old ways of being, that they just don't want to wake up to the truth. So that's why this year, all of this is going on. And this year, number 9 is the element of fire,
Yeah.
right? And it's also the year of change, like old endings.
Yeah.
So it's an invitation for each one of us to go into the darkness of our soul, see all that is unfulfilled, unprocessed, incomplete with souls, right? Our money karma is healing, our mother wounds are healing, our father wounds are healing. And it's literally like we've been put into a popcorn machine where our trauma is, which is buried in our subconscious, unconscious, just standing right in front of us.
Yeah.
Because this is an invitation. इसको heal करो तभी आगे जाओगे.
I see suddenly, because I see a surge in the number of healers. People are talking about aliens, dimensions. If you open like the internet also, you have all this information. People are talking about chakras. ये शायद से पहले उतना ये नहीं था. People are talking about wounds. As you said, people didn't know about mother wounds, father wounds. People didn't know there was a thing like trauma. Like if you see our parents. And now when I see this generation, I think even the Gen Zs are even getting more aware with time. I think they are introduced they are introduced to this concept way earlier than we were.
No, so they're not introduced to this. Understand one thing. So all the souls that are coming in the planet right now, I'm talking about from 1990 were the indigo kids and the crystal kids. The souls that chose to come. They were evolved spiritually. But they had 3D parents.
Okay.
So the trauma happened to them and they regressed.
Okay.
But in the last 1 decade, I'm talking about the Gen Zs, like the last 2 decades, if you see, all the souls who've entered the planet are all evolved 5D souls. And they will not regress. So they are rebellious, they know the truth, they have higher wisdom. And now the current dimension, I've spoken this earlier in a podcast and it was very misunderstood. So I would like to very clearly rephrase this. Now that Mother Earth is fully in 5D,
Yeah.
and we are moving towards a Satyug, all the new souls that are choosing to come into the planet will only choose wombs that are already healed.
Okay.
Because see, there's also womb trauma.
Yeah.
So the soul comes as pure white light as a 5D, but then there's also, according to epigenetics, it's your environment that conditions your behavior and your cellular memory. So now if a soul chooses to come into the womb of a mother, unhealed womb, who's carrying her mother wounds, her ancestral trauma, her money wounds, so that will become a part of the child's program.
Yes.
And that is the reason why a lot of people are not conceiving. Like in my own healing journey, I have couples who come to me who and you know, it's really nice. Couples are understanding this. So they just come to me and they say, we want to heal our womb space. We are planning to have a child. In 4 months of healing, they conceive potently without any IVF, without anything.
That's because the soul is choosing a healed wound.
Souls are waiting.
Waiting.
But they are very clear now because they are light beings. They don't want to come into a traumatic world. So they're giving an opportunity for all the people here. First heal yourselves and we'll step into your womb space and we want to choose your mother and father, because it's sad to say that the biggest wounds in our life come from the most important 2 people, our mother and father. And we carry it in our bloodline.
Yes.
You know, these patterns we're talking about.
Yeah.
So everything is changing.
Yeah.
We are in a totally new dimension.
And as you just said, that this spiritual awakening, there will be a lot of people who will be going through this right now, the spiritual awakening. I see a lot of people, as I said, like, you know, healers, coaches. So is it the impact of the earth's vibration that is coming onto us? And that's why
Absolutely, that's the reason. And you know what? People feel spiritual awakening is very fancy.
Yeah.
It starts off with the darkness. And currently, we are globally going through the dark night of the soul. And people who don't know are emotionally suffering. So in the outside world of their material, everything is okay and sorted out. But inside, everybody's rattled up and wobbly.
Yeah, there's a rise in anxiety, depression.
Anxiety, depression, that's the first sign of spiritual awakening, because our trauma is trapped in our lower chakras. It's coiled up as dark dense matter. Now, our body, because please understand, our external environment impacts our internal world.
Okay.
Our inner world impacts the outer world impacts the inner world. Now, the outer vibrations are very high.
Okay.
So, it's entering into our darkness, into our bodies. We're absorbing it, and it's exciting the darkness to show up so that we can heal.
So take it as an opportunity. If
Of
it's
course,
coming up, try.
We are living in one of the best times if you see it from a spiritual lens. But if you see it from a very material and a 3D lens, then this is a time of suffering.
Got it. Also, you said about conceiving, like the problems of conceiving are increasing because there are a lot of unhealed wounds.
Yeah, but I want to again verify this. This is from a very higher spiritual perspective.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
You know, in the 3D world, they'll say, okay, no reason, but nahi conceive ho rahe hain, so IVF kar lo, you know. And then that's where technology then takes over.
Got it.
human consciousness and human choices.
तो इसमें मुझे ये पूछना है दैट जो रिलेशनशिप्स भी अभी डिफिकल्ट हो रहे हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ पीपल आर नॉट एबल टू सेटल डाउन, देयर इज एन इंक्रीज इन द नंबर ऑफ डिवोर्सेस, ये सब भी इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस
Yes.
वाइब्रेशन?
So please understand, karmic cycles are ending.
ओके
Okay. So and the thumb rule of karma is when a karma is over with one person, right? So that means you've repaid your karmic debt with one person. The person then remains as a neutral energy in your life,
ओके
or the person moves away, right? So divorce is a choice because of the wounds that they can't cope up, because our shadows are showing up, and who reflects our shadow the most is our partner,
या
right? So whatever is triggering us in them is actually an unhealed wound inside me.
Yeah.
That's a shadow.
इट्स लाइक अ मिरर, दे आर
Yeah,
जस्ट
they're mirroring you.
Yeah.
So because we don't have the right tools, so we are actually running away from the relationship as a fight and flight mode, right?
Okay.
But actually staying in a relationship and healing is the most graceful thing to do, because then the relationship reaches to a state of a beautiful neutrality where you're coexisting in harmony and peace. Then you be you, I be me, and we're good together. So we're not rubbing our insanities on each other. So that's a place to actually go to. But to go to that place, there's some level of self-work we have to do.
Yeah. And go
people
through
are-
the darkness. As you said, that would you need
Yeah.
to get through the dark to reach the light somewhere.
See,
or
because
the
as
other.
the shadows show up, no, we end up projecting our unhealed wounds on them. So
Yeah.
they trigger us, but whatever they're triggering you is actually about you.
Yes.
What you can't own up in you. But people are not willing to do that. So then the safest, and please understand, when something unsafe shows up, our nervous system and our brain is involved in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So it only has two ways of being: fight or flight.
Yes.
So divorce is more of a flight mode.
Yeah.
And then they're compensating this by saying, oh, cycles are ending, so divorce karte hain.
But that's not the truth.
That's
Actually,
separation.
being in that relationship and solving is actually
See, if you healed all your wounds, then this person will not trigger you anymore. Then you'll live with love, no?
yeah.
Because this person also carries the same divine spark that you carry. We are all one in the quantum field. We're all one.
Yes.
See, in the universe, there is no them. It's only you. That's why it's called universe. It's not they-niverse.
That's such a beautiful concept.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's only you. What you see in others is you. Because the universe sees them also as you.
Yes.
And the same fundamental theory we can apply with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not recognize them. Right? So if I'm judging you and telling, oh my God, she's so stupid, for your subconscious mind, you are stupid and it behaves stupid. Because the subconscious mind is very impersonal. And so is the quantum field. So
Got it.
we are all one. We are all in this together.
Got it. Okay. And in all this, what do you think? Because we have AI coming in right now, because now that the earth has moved towards 5D. But I saw one of the posts saying that AI belongs to the 3D world. So how is that making sense?
As you move higher in the dimensions, it's more non-physical, it's more spiritual, it's more divine, it's more... so there's something called human intelligence. There's something called artificial intelligence that is invented by human beings.
Yes.
And there's something called divine intelligence.
Okay.
A higher self.
Yeah.
Right? So AI is the most lowest form of intelligence if I look at all of these forms of intelligence.
Okay.
It's logical, right?
Yeah, because it's created by humans. Yeah.
Yeah, it's created by humans.
Yeah.
So it's the lowest form of intelligence. And the funny part is, we were born to evolve. So from human intelligence, our next step is to move into divine wisdom, divine intelligence. So from a lower self, we move into the human self and the higher self.
Yeah.
Right? Now, rather than that, we are regressing.
Yeah, exactly. Because we are using AI, which is the lowest.
And also understand, but then it's not anybody's fault. It's just that the lack of information. And I'm not saying AI is not good. But when a human intelligence or a divine intelligence is using AI, please understand we live in a 3D world. So we need structure, we need information, we need structured information, and we need detailed information. So, and information in the field, right, is there just like a smudge.
Okay.
Now, let's say, for example, I'm sitting and I'm doing my meditation. I'm connecting to the human consciousness grid and I'm downloading some information from the grid.
Okay.
from the human consciousness. Now, it's not going to come to me as a structured piece of information. It just comes to me as a smudge, but the whole information is there.
Yeah.
Now, to put that into a structure and to maybe give it to the world, I need AI.
Yeah. Got it.
You understand?
Yeah.
So then my prompt is based on what I have downloaded.
Hmm.
And that's how I'm using AI. So I sit in my meditation, I download a piece of information, right? And there are many times AI doesn't even know what we are talking about because AI only goes with specifics of what is only researched and scientific back.
Yeah. And what
not-
we have put in as an input.
What we have put in as
Yeah,
an
input,
input, right?
yeah.
What human beings have put
Yeah,
in.
human beings.
Now, would you agree, human beings, whatever they put in, it's only a 3D matrix?
Yes.
So how does AI know about what's outside of the matrix?
Yes.
In the 5D or the...
Got it.
So if human beings had not put in this information, AI would not know it.
Yeah.
Is that making
So I can
sense?
use like whatever the divine intelligence, whatever is the download, and I can use AI to actually structure it and
Structure
put it
it.
out in a better way in the 3D,
Yes.
because AI is in the 3D. So I
AI
will
is a
use
3D tool.
yeah, is a 3D.
And it's a very beautiful tool if used in the right way.
Yeah, but right now we all are scared of AI. If you go to see, because people are losing their jobs because of AI. People are getting into relationships with robots somewhere or the other. Also for therapy, somewhere or the other, humanity is dependent on AI. So at the current moment, it's all about fear with AI, that are machines going to be ruling our life somewhere or the other?
See, that's only if we allow it to. And a lot of people are even choosing to live off the grid. You know, it's such a big opportunity because the 5D world is a world of abundance.
Okay.
Okay, there's more oneness in this world. There's more compassion. There's more one for all for one. So losing your job is an invitation, because even a job is a 3D matrix, 9 to 5. You're stuck. So losing a job and having faith in the universe and stepping up to 5D is opening up yourself to so many quantum possibilities that are there. That, see, job hum kyun karte hain? Paison ke liye karte hain.
Haan.
But if you have so much abundance available, then why do I have to struggle to make the money?
Got it.
So if I look at it from that lens, then AI is good. It's come to replace us. Now we have time to do better things. We have time to live our dharma, our purpose. So many people are stuck in jobs, but they're born with another purpose and they're dying to express their purpose, but they're not. तो इस डब्बे से निकलना है ना. Imagine when you have a whole big playground to play the game. Why would you play the game in a 2x2
Yeah.
dabba? So I think losing your job is a great opportunity, because it's time for you to now have faith in something very higher than you. You have faith in AI, but you don't have faith in a higher intelligence.
Got it. Okay.
So we got to believe in a higher intelligence above AI.
That's such a beautiful thought, because I feel you can use it to actually awaken yourself in so many different ways.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when I look at it from the context of hiring AI for as a therapist, now please understand, human connection is about human emotions and vibrations.
Yeah.
Until we don't vibrate, like without emotion, being with a human being is like being with a robot. Emotion is energy in motion, so it makes us alive.
Yeah.
So when two humans are emoting, they are passing on
Vibrations.
a
Yeah.
vibration, and a human therapist is then actually observing the person and maybe uplifting them with their vibrations.
Yeah.
Now, AI cannot do this. It's only feeding our logical brain.
Yeah.
So even the growth is only informational. It's not transformational.
And somewhere or the other also that the same vibration, because it is your input. Finally, it's just mirroring you.
It's only mirroring you.
Yeah. So it's not a emotion in motion somewhere or the other. It is just giving
It's only
a-
going to tell you what you want to hear.
what you want to hear. Yeah. I just want to ask this one doubt that I have is, you said that the non-physical world is after 7D. So यहाँ पे रह के I can be in my 5D, like being in my physical state. Can I access the 7D?
So if you understand, the human body will always be a 3D matrix,
So
because it's
I-
matter.
Okay.
The body.
The body.
But we are not only the body, we are beyond the body, right? We are consciousness in the body.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Let's say I have a 100-watt bulb. Now, if I pass on 500-watt electricity in the bulb, what will happen to the bulb?
It's going to
Burst.
burst. Yeah.
Okay? Because it can't hold it.
Hold it.
So the human body, so there is absolute light in the higher dimensions, pure white, pure light.
Okay.
But the human body, because for us to live in the 3D world, we live in duality, darkness and light. It's like if we were all light, our consciousness or soul would not be able to fit into the body. So human body can take only X amount of light.
Got it.
And our goal is in 3D, we are total in duality, half light, half dark,
Half darkness.
right? And we are like in the 3D world. Now, the goal is as you keep working on your consciousness, we are not talking about body, we are talking about consciousness and soul. The game is to transmute the darkness into light and become pure white light. So when you become pure white light till 70, right, then you attain moksha. And then you don't have to come into a physical body to play the game.
So 70 is moksha?
7th dimension and
Is the
beyond.
moksha.
Yeah, moksha.
Okay.
Okay. So a human being in a human body through meditation and through your chakra cleansing and your healing can hold up to only 70 vibration in the body.
In the body. So you can be in your physical state, but your consciousness can access
That's
the 70.
70.
Okay.
And that's why if you understand our chakras are the doorway to our dimensions. In the body, we only have 7 chakras.
Yes.
The others are outside in the quantum field. So we have 12 chakras,
Yeah.
right? But only 7 are in the body.
Yes. The major.
So the moment I master my crown chakra, I've mastered my 7th dimension, I've reached moksha, then I don't have to come back into earth to play this game.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
if like for me, like there are many meditations where we try to touch our 10, 12 chakra, we just touch and come back. Like you need to have a very, very, but you can't stay there. You can maybe experience a 10th dimension
The
in
samadhi
meditation.
avastha. Is it the samadhi, the moksha? No, it's beyond that.
I'm just talking when you're sitting in meditation.
Meditation.
You're moving up, you're moving the energy upward through your chakras.
Huh.
You go to your 8th chakra, your 9th chakra. You touch your 10th chakra. You know what the dimension looks like.
Okay.
Or maybe sometimes in sleep when I'm astral traveling, I've gone to a 10th dimension. I know what it looks like. But my consciousness cannot stay there. It has to come back to my body
Because of the physical.
because of the physicality and the 3D and the matter.
Got it. When we spoke about the earth being into the 5D vibration, दूसरे planets को क्या हो रहा है? ये earth को हो रहा है. तो जहाँ पे astrology की बात आती है, how is it affecting our astrological charts somewhere or the other?
So when you look at the entire universe, it only functions on one thumb rule principle, one for all for one,
Okay.
right? That means the entire universe has only one goal, to keep the energy in motion,
Yeah.
right? Because
Right.
energy is meant to be in motion and everything in the universe is energy.
Yes.
So
And everything
it is like,
connected.
let's say all these planets are like a family. Okay. And इस family का all our different planets are different members. And इनका mandate है कि we have to keep working to keep churning the energy and it has to be in motion.
Yes.
Okay. Now I come into planet Earth. But that doesn't mean I've discounted myself from the light of the other planets because they're all one family. We're all one family. So now suppose I have not forgiven someone and I'm holding on to a lot of anger and sadness and blame for someone else. For the universe, we are all one. So have I stagnated the energy
Yes.
and I've not put it into motion?
Yeah.
But what's the mandate of the universe? To keep the energy
In
in motion.
Yeah.
And now I've taken that much energy and put it in my energy field and I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
Now that leaves an imprint in the quantum field.
Okay.
And whatever is in the quantum field is reflected through the planets into us.
Okay.
The planets don't have their own light. They reflect the light of the sun.
Yes.
Because sun is the only source of light.
Yeah.
So different planets are appointed different teachers. Like when we went to school, what was the goal? To study. So we had a maths teacher, science teacher, English teacher, and their job was to make sure children are studying
Yeah.
and evolving from class 4 to class 5, 6. So the same thing. The universe is a school and all these planets are teachers,
Okay.
right? So their role is actually to reflect the sun's light upon our darkness. So that we can see that, okay, there is darkness. So suppose if I have my Shani week, that means I'm a very rude person and I'm carrying a lot of karmic baggage and I don't know how to treat. I treat my maids and my drivers and all these low people very badly. So I have to learn because for the universe, we are all one. So Shani teaches us, it teaches us discipline, it teaches us responsibility.
So if I look at my chart, I can actually know that what are my lessons in this
Absolutely.
lifetime, and I can actually make the work easier. Can I use astrology to accelerate my?
So for me, how I use astrology is every December 30th, I go to my astrologer and I get my report card for the next year, full year. Report card means this is the report card where I need to work on these areas. Because if I don't work on it, then the planets will teach me.
Okay.
Now, see, understand one thing. Now, I have a strict maths teacher, and she wants to teach me maths in class 5. Now, there's one student who studies all the maths on their own. So then the teacher will reward them.
Of course, yeah.
But
Because
there's
you're
one,
prepared. You've
yeah.
come prepared.
So the teacher will give you a blessing and reward you.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's one student who did not study the maths till the last final exam. He'll be punished. So the planets also, if you learn your lesson, like you're talking about these dhaiyas and these satis that come in, if you know it's coming and you know your game, play it before the planets play you. And 7.5 years, rather than suffering, you'll be blessed by the planet because the light is shining upon you.
So I can use it as an opportunity.
I cannot begin to tell you, because if I start talking about this subject, my life is a total play of quantum physics and astrology, right? In my astrology, if you see my husband's and my birth chart, we should be divorced in 2 years. Every astrologer till date looks at it and say, how are you all married? But when I look back into my karmic cycles with him, we had many incomplete lifetimes. So in this lifetime, we had to complete it. Our astrological chart is like the report card of the last lifetimes that we've come here to play. Prarabdha karma.
Yeah. Yeah, you're born with it, with the astral
You're born.
chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a report card.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a red mark in my match, so that means I have to focus on maths in this. You understand?
Got it. Yeah.
So the best thing is, and every 31st I go back, December I go back to my astrologer and say, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, ऐसे नहीं कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, जो लिखा हुआ था. Because we out-created it with free will.
Got it. You already did the work beforehand, before it
Yes.
came.
But it's a very good roadmap to see that in this year, this planet and this planet and this planet is shining upon this area of mine. Like, for example, there was one time in my life where my Chandrama, moon, was afflicted with Rahu.
Okay.
And I mean, there was a combination which was very weird. And it just said that it'll bring disease. Sorry, not Rahu, Mangal. Right? Now, Chandrama means mother energy. And Mangal is always, Mars is always about disease and all
Diseases,
of that.
yeah.
Now, when you understand, so they just, my astrologer told me, आपको ना uterus में कोई problem आ सकती है.
The mother.
Now, uterus is the mother organ, mother wound.
Yeah.
And that was the most phenomenal year where I cleansed all my karma with my mother and nothing happened to me physically, no disease. But that was an opportunity for me because I knew what these planets were indicating.
Got it.
They're not here to punish us. Come on. I mean, do you really believe that our God is so bad that he'll put us in a earth with so many planets to just punish us?
Yeah, because people are so scared of Sade Sati. Those 7.5 years where it teaches you all your life lessons, they say. Like, वो एक जो period है, वो सबसे toughest period है. And I know so many people are scared of Sade Sati. Somewhere or the other.
You know, on this, I want to share my personal experience. So, in every birth chart, there are 3 Sadesatis that come into your life.
Yes.
Okay. So, my worst one happened right after I got married. And both my kids were born. And this was in 1995. And that is exactly when I started my spiritual journey also, and self-work journey, healing journey. So, I remember one time when, and I always believed in Aham Brahmasmi. And
I
then
am
I would always
sure.
question it, that how can this 7.5 years impact my life? Because immediately when Sadhisati started, we completely lost ourselves financially. Like we were really, really somewhere and we came down. My husband went into severe depression. We lost our father-in-law who would take care of the business and everything. So I was left alone with 2 kids. Now we have to take care of the family. I questioned this Sadhisati, and at that time, again, they say when the student is ready, the master appears. My guru came into my life. He was an astrologer,
Okay.
right? Pandit Hari Prakash Vashisht. He sat me down and he said, Beta, ये तुम्हारे 7.5 साल जिंदगी के सबसे अच्छे साल होंगे अगर तुम सिर्फ घर पे बैठ के दाल रोटी खाओ, ज्यादा उछलो मत और सब्र सीख लो और जिम्मेदारी सीख लो.
So fight
Shani,
through
no.
it. Just like,
Not even fight.
just
He
let
didn't
it-
teach me to fight. He said be.
just be.
He said तुम कुछ भी करोगे 7.5 साल है. तुम लड़ो या आराम से करो, वो आपकी चॉइस है. I remember those words. Then I said, अभी 7.5 साल करना ही है, तो let's make hay while the sun shines. So I then studied astrology from him. 2-year का course था. My kids were small. So we started focusing on the big things. He also told me one thing, that इस टाइम पे ना बिल्कुल कोई भी, बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग थ्रू फाइनेंशियली टफ टाइम, लोन वोन मत लेना, बिकॉज फिर सारी जिंदगी आप पैसा कमाओगे बट यही लोन
You'll keep repaying it.
repaying it.
Yeah, which
So
does not make sense. Yeah.
it is teaching you to stay humble. It is teaching you to stay grounded. And he also told me that the goal that you want to create, I wanted to heal the world. He said, आपको जो skills चाहिए ना, सबर, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, जिम्मेदारी और एक ठहराव, वो ये 7.5 साल देंगे आपको. So it's going to be a best teacher. And today when I look back, 30 years ahead of that time, I think those were the best years of my life because they made me who I am. Today, no matter what comes in front of me, I don't get scared because you've seen the worst,
Wow.
right? So I think these moments in life are here to give us resilience, spiritual resilience, mental resilience, emotional resilience. They make you patient. They make you trust that in the darkness there is going to be light.
So I think next time I'm going to my astrologer, I'm going to ask this question that, what are the lessons that I need to learn beforehand of that coming year? I think that's going to change a lot of perspective.
Yeah, and also they say you attract people at your level. So if you have fear, you'll attract an astrologer who'll only give you fear, no?
Yeah.
And he'll say ये कर लो वो कर लो ऐसे हो जाएगा. So
हाँ,
it's
मतलब
important.
रेमेडीज जो
Yeah.
छोटे छोटे रेमेडीज है उस पे
See,
ऊपर
remedies work on the Newtonian physics level. They don't change your energy. They make you aware. In the end, there's nothing that can transform you. You have to go inside and clean your kachra.
Yeah.
So these remedies are only good for like the surface level awareness,
Okay.
right? That they bring me down. Like let's say if somebody said, "Jaake aap daan de do," for example. So all these remedies will only make me humble enough so that I can go and see what is inside me.
Yeah.
But they don't change our life. But what has happened is people are stuck in the remedies and they don't want to go inside. That's a problem.
Yeah.
See, Dr. Wayne Dyer, one of my mentors, always said, whether you believe you live in a friendly universe
Or a
or a hostile universe, either way, you're right because your beliefs create your reality. Okay.
Yeah.
I always believed our universe was friendly because in the Gita also it's written, जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है.
अच्छे के
तो
लिए
ये 7.5 भी अच्छे के लिए होगी ना.
हाँ.
Why are we questioning it? When there's someone who's already done it with a higher mind, why should I want to question this? Why can't I just sail through it?
No, that's a beautiful aspect. I think we've been seeing astrology and taking in suggestions out of fear. As you just said, people go to an astrologer with the idea of fear and not with the idea of learning something.
Yeah.
वहाँ पे वो चेंज लाना बहुत ज़रूरी है कहीं ना कहीं तो. This brings me to a very beautiful concept that I want to ask you about. As Bhagavad Gita आपने जो बोला कि what is the concept of free will and surrender? So I'm always like मुझे ये doubt है कि they say that surrender to the universe. Everything that is happening to you is for the right reason somewhere or the other. So you have to surrender. But then where does the concept of free will come into all of this?
So let's give you an example, okay? Let's say you're going on a highway. Now to choose the highway is free will.
Yeah.
Nobody can force you कि आपको जयपुर ही जाना पड़ेगा या चंडीगढ़ ही जाना पड़ेगा. You choose the highway. That's free will.
Yeah.
Now, surrendering is that I know that if there is the GPS, a roadmap, I surrender to that and I know that this is going to take me to my destination.
Yeah.
So I'm trusting. Who am I surrendering to? A higher power. In that moment, you don't know the way to Jaipur, so you're trusting. For you, the higher power is GPS.
GPS.
Right? Now, you make a choice. I want to stop at this dhaba. Now, there the GPS will take you there through surrender. But now, getting down and eating or not eating is free will.
Yeah.
Stopping there or not stopping there. The speed on the highway is free will.
Got it.
Then, do I have a choice to come back? Come back and not go into the journey is free will. So we surrender. Surrendering is that trust that there's always a higher power working with you because the universe only functions from coexistence.
Yes.
We are not alone. We are coexisting and co-creating with the universe at every single moment. When I say universe, I'm talking about a higher intelligence available. So when you don't know the path, can you surrender to someone? They will show you the path. This energy will show you the path. But then getting down and doing what you want to do is your free will.
Yeah. So I think even if there's a bad phase in my life, there will be, so surrendering to it that, okay, I am going to go through this. बट ऑल्सो टेकिंग एक्शन ऑन वॉट एवर कम्स माई वे, मतलब जो भी एक्शन नेसेसरी है वो लेना भी बहुत जरूरी है कहीं ना कहीं
Yeah,
तो
that's one thing. Action is important.
इम्पोर्टेंट.
Another analogy I'll give you, this will make sense. Now, let's imagine I'm going on this highway, Delhi, Jaipur. I chose to go.
या
I chose this path.
या
Now, there is a mandate thumb rule that in this highway, right side पे McDonald's आएगा, इस side पे ये आएगा. So let's imagine, because the 3D world is a world of duality. The dark and the light coexist, right? So on the left side of the highway, right, everything is dirty, dark, negative, all the robbers, murderers, सब कुछ वो हो रहा है left side पे. Right side पे सब कुछ अच्छा है, angelic, light.
या
Now, I don't have a choice in changing this. Darkness is there, light is there. Where is my free will? Where I look. I have a choice to observe the darkness and become dark and fight with it.
या
But see, we only have one focus point, okay? Or I can focus on the light and ignore the dark. That is where free will comes into play. But we start fighting the darkness. इसको नहीं होना चाहिए था. अभी इसको मैकडॉनल्ड्स को यहाँ पे नहीं होना चाहिए था. You don't go on a highway and fight with stuff which is there.
Yeah.
You make a choice कि मुझे रुकना है या नहीं रुकना. Why do we have to stop at every darkness and sit and fight with it?
Yeah, it's just like as you said कि अगर आपने job lose किया है, now the free will is that I decide to see it as an opportunity, or do I decide to sit and cry about it?
And please understand one thing, in the universe, everything starts from the seeds of darkness. So what seems dark to us in this moment is an external catalyst. Remember, we live in a world of matter. The law of inertia states that everything is moving at a motion.
Yeah.
And to move motion into another state, it needs an external force.
Yes.
So this darkness is losing the job, like my financial crisis, it came as an external force to make me and take me to another level.
To get you out of that inertia, the state
Inertia,
of inertia,
yeah,
because
we
you
need
were-
inertia. Yeah, you
to
understand.
move. Yeah.
So that's how the universe functions. Every time there is darkness, I tell my students, बल्ले बल्ले करो, नाचो, गलियों पे जाके बोलो, oh, now something good is coming out of this. But now the next moment of my life will depend on where I'm observing. Am I observing at problems? So the problems will become bigger. Or am I observing possibilities and manifesting? Or am I destroying? Because manifestation and destruction are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It depends on where I observe.
Yes.
That is where free will is.
Got it.
And another thing in free will is our karmic destiny is already pre-planned. There's no free will there because the free will was executed before I came into earth.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that
Yeah.
because when we are born, I think we choose the lessons beforehand.
So
We take this, yeah, वो already हो चुका है decide, right?
yeah. So now we can't change that. So suppose you decided you will
The
marry one
script is
person.
written, right? The script is already written. Are we only thinking it's free will or that
No,
moment?
we are misusing free will. Now, the script is written, like if I look at my astrological chart, the script was written that I have to marry this person. I have to be born to this mother, this father. It's a
Okay.
pre-scripted,
Your soul chose this.
my soul chose this with free will.
Yeah.
I was given a choice.
Okay.
Now I'm in the matrix, I'm playing the game. Now I can't change this.
Yeah.
But where do I have free will? That will I use my anger and destroy this relationship and divorce? Or will I use kindness, love, forgiveness and move past and make this work? That is where free will is. What is the emotion I'm choosing at every given moment? You're giving me anger. I can give you love. That's my free will. I don't have to give you anger back. Because whatever I give out comes back to me.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
But we are using free will to break our relationship, to disconnect from our fathers because they gave us trauma, to hate our mothers and be angry with them because they gave us trauma, or to break relationship. How many divorces are happening and children are losing their mother and father? I sit with children, right? And I ask them, what is the scariest thing in your life? And they say, when mummy and papa are fighting, we are so scared. We don't even know will they live together or not. Now imagine the level of trauma. And these children now will become animals.
Yeah.
And we call this free will. हमने तो divorce किया. So it's misusing free will.
Yeah, because you're kind of, I think, bypassing your karmas
Yes.
also somewhere or the other.
Yeah.
Because जो आया है आपके सामने, आप वो छोड़ के, मतलब what you have to go through in this lifetime, your soul purpose, आप वो छोड़ के, you're trying to bypass it somewhere.
And the most funny thing is, you know what? No matter how many relationships you break, your karma follows you. The same patterns repeat in the next relation and the next and the next till you've not learned your
Till
lesson.
you've not learned.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So I say learn it in the first only. No.
Yeah.
Why are you creating so much pain for yourself?
Got it. ये अभी पितृपक्ष चल रहा है. So I would definitely want to ask you, because you come from the world of science. And how does science and pitrupaksh make sense to you?
So when I understand it from a lens of the quantum field, we all live inside this field of energy, right?
Yeah.
And everything that's happening within human consciousness is leaving an imprint on the quantum field.
Okay.
So and what is leaving an imprint? So there are two types of energy. One is energy in motion. So energy is flowing.
Yeah.
That doesn't leave an impact or an imprint or a dent on the quantum field or in the grid out there. But when there's some heavy thing happening that is unprocessed, stuck energy, unprocessed energy, unforgiven patterns,
The
anything that's
denser energies.
denser energies,
Yeah.
now that gets stuck in the quantum field with an imprint of the personal soul's blueprint.
Okay.
Now, when you understand human beings, we are all carrying our DNA of our ancestors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and one human DNA, it's like, for example, if this glass of water, right? And I put a lot of green color in it. Now I pour it into another glass, this green color will go into that glass. Then I pour it into a third glass. And so the green color flows no matter how.
Yeah, that's
So-
how we carry like karmic packages.
patterns and ancestral
Yeah, like
patterns.
7 पीढ़ी का वो लोग
Yes.
बोलते हैं कि you're carrying those imprints somewhere.
Now, I told you the entire universe works in coordination only for one thing, to keep the energy in motion.
Yeah.
वो है
To
objective.
keep moving. Yeah.
To keep moving.
Yeah.
So these portals, these timelines, these things like Pitrapaksh, the good times and the bad times, like they say, 9 days do fasting, the time is good. So all of these timelines are only targeting towards one thing, to put more energy to heal and to put more energy into motion. So this window of Pitrapaksh is an opportunity for us. Because every lineage gets an opportunity to end patterns so that our children forward,
Yeah.
our generation forward, are not carrying those patterns.
Yeah.
So number one, also please understand, I told you there's 3D and then there is a 4D tunnel, it's a dark tunnel, and 5D. So if our ancestors also have not moved on to the light is in the 5D. So many souls are stuck in the dark tunnel. For whatever reason, maybe they were scared of dying. Okay, but their soul's time just came to die. So they left the body, right? The body died, but the soul is somewhere scared to move to the light. So it's stuck there. So this is that timeline or an opportunity for all of us who are alive here. See, because when you get stuck, no? And
So you get stuck as
you get stuck and you don't know, you don't have awareness.
So which area, like where?
The 4D.
The
The 4D is the dimension.
Yeah. So but then at that time you've not reincarnated as anything else. You're just stuck.
You're stuck. Again, okay, now this is again multidimensionality. If I go,
Yeah.
a part of your soul could have reincarnated, a fragment of it may be stuck.
Oh.
This is again, it's
Yeah.
deeper, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's not go there, we'll divert.
Okay. Got
Okay,
it, yeah.
but then,
You do have fragments of.
of course, moksha is when I collect all the fragments of my soul and okay, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay, let's understand there is a jigsaw puzzle of 100 pieces. Now, when will the picture be complete? When all 100 pieces are put together?
Yes.
Now, it's time, and my soul is like a jigsaw puzzle with many, many pieces. But due to trauma, lifetimes of karma and all, our pieces get fragmented and we leave them in timelines
Oh,
as
so we-
stagnated energy.
Okay.
So let's say in this lifetime, I died, okay, but I've taken only 70 pieces with me. Where are my 30 pieces? Somewhere in some timeline as stagnated energy. So now I'll have to reincarnate to get those 30 pieces back,
Got it.
right? You understand this concept. So now when
And
the...
first you're going to be working on those 30 pieces that are
Yes.
left, because when you've
Yeah,
reincarnated,
because I have to take
you have
those
to take
pieces
those
back.
pieces.
That's the goal. Now, when a soul dies and is stuck in 4D, right, could be a few of their fragments is reborn as energy because it's soul energy, right? And few pieces are still stuck somewhere in some timeline. So this Pitrapaksh is an opportunity for me now to connect with my entire lineage, because their stuck pieces will keep me stuck. The patterns, the universe, the quantum field is a mirror and it's self-reflecting. Whatever has my signature on it.
Yeah.
And my ancestors are carrying my energy signature. So let's say all those ancestors stuck somewhere in some timeline with 111 piece stuck. It's all reflecting in my life and my children's life. So this is an opportunity for us to now tune into the quantum field and just pray that wherever in my lineage, whatever is stuck, all of them come together and I'm moving them to light. And just with me purely observing them moving to light, they move to light. So they say they do prayers
Yeah.
for our ancestors.
दान करते हैं बहुत सारे लोग
Yeah.
उस पीरियड पे.
Ideally, it's a very good time for you to actually nurture your entire lineage and activate your DNA to a higher dimension. Because let's say if one pattern is stuck from maybe my great-great-great-grandfather into my DNA, I can't move into 5D.
Because it is going to
it's
be
impacting
new
me.
also. Yeah.
It's like I could take a big jar of pure Amrit and pour one drop of susu in it. The whole thing gets impacted, or one drop of poison in it.
Yeah.
So it's about cleaning it
The
fully.
kachra, yeah, because even if you're
Yeah.
trying to move ahead, there is something that's going to hold you back.
Yeah.
And that's your lineage.
Yeah.
Somewhere or the other.
So this is a beautiful time for us to move beyond
So
it.
मैंने ये एग्जाम्पल भी सुना था कि बहुत सारे एक फैमिली मतलब दिस वाज वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स एंड दे टोल्ड मी दैट उनके घर में सब लड़कियों की शादी नहीं हो रही थी. It was like literally the whole entire family and they did some kind of family healing like जो पूजा पाठ and suddenly all of them started
Start
getting
getting
married.
Yeah, wow.
And I feel that this makes so much sense because I never thought of this, that you can reincarnate, but fragments of you can
Yeah.
be stuck. And that is because of the denser energy that they are carrying while they die.
And also, you know what? So when you understand the 3 types of karma, okay?
Okay.
Sanchita karma, prarabdha, and kriyamana karma. Sanchita karma is my 100 pieces.
Got it.
All of my lifetime that I've lived.
Okay.
As any other thing. Now, let's say I died and I left 40 pieces somewhere in some timelines. Now I have an opportunity to reborn again. So then I don't want to take 40. I don't want to go back to collect 40 pieces. It's too much work. So in this lifetime, I'll go and only collect 20.
Okay.
So my 20 abhi bhi fragmented hai na?
Hai na?
But it's the same soul.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing something like this, that I thought that when we die, you've just reincarnated into something else and you're carrying that karmic baggage and मतलब वही आप लेके जा रहे हो.
There's Sanchita karma, there's Prarabdha karma and Kriyamana karma. Now Sanchita karma is all of the lifetimes of baggage that I've accumulated, the energy that I did not put into motion. All my karma from all lifetimes.
Okay.
Now in this lifetime, I choose Prarabdha karma is my this lifetime account that I
Yes.
came to resolve.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I chose in this lifetime to only collect 20 pieces of mine.
Okay.
And 80 years was a span for me to live on this earth. And obviously, yes, you understand because of childhood programming and all, we end up creating more baggage.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm ready to die, rather than 20 pieces now, I've fragmented myself in this lifetime more. So I may not have collected those 20 pieces. I've just collected 10, but I've fragmented the remaining
more.
pieces also.
Yeah.
So it's a cycle, you understand?
Yeah.
So it's really important that we recognize that these prayers that we do for our ancestors or we do for ourselves are a collective, and these cycles, this Pitradosh keeps repeating year after year, but every year we have an opportunity, right? Because now we are sending light to that soul, that part of my ancestors, which must have got fragmented somewhere. So even if they've taken a rebirth, let's say, for example, they will receive the light.
That's
they will receive the
beautiful.
blessing.
Wow. And I think in today's times, I know so many people who are actually going away from their family tree. Because I don't want to know, मतलब it's not cool to know your family tree, कहाँ से आए हैं. Because वो पहले एक system था, जहाँ पे you would get introduced to your native place. दादा कौन थे, परदादा कौन थे. And it's so important now that I understand when I've started my healing journey, I've realized that the first thing you need to know is your ancestors.
Yeah, see, please understand your roots create your fruits.
Yeah.
Even till date, if I want to manifest something big, rather than going into the quantum field and manifesting, first I go into my root chakra, I connect to the core central sun, because that's where I've come from. Then I connect to my roots, not only in this lifetime, every lifetime. Then I connect to all my great ancestors. I connect to my father energy. Then I connect to my root chakra. And then I pick the energy up and I send it into the quantum field.
Yeah.
So how can a tree without roots even bear fruits?
Got it.
And manifestation is fruits. So it's really important for us to, this is an opportunity. The more rooted we are into our ancestral lineage, the more we can bear good fruits and sweet fruits
Yeah.
in life.
Just out of curiosity, like when I'm talking about, do I need to know what was their karmic baggage, or it's just that if I do prayers with a good intention,
See,
it
it
works?
reflects, you don't need to know, it reflects in patterns. So you can go into your own behavior and recognize whatever is similar in you, like your mother and father. Patterns, I'll give you a small example, okay, from my own life. So, and I was not aware of this. This was many years back when I was teaching manifestation and manifesting from the quantum field and all of that. So I had a very strong pattern that if I have to buy something new, and I'm talking about bigger stuff like a property or something, in my mind, I have to sell something old. And it was a pattern. So once we were discussing, we were having a family meeting and we were discussing about buying something new. So I instantly jumped in and I told my son, let's sell this and let's buy this.
Okay.
He butted in and he said, Mama, you talk about manifestation all the time. But every time when we have to buy something new, why do you talk about selling the old?
Hmm.
That got me questioning. And I went back to my father's life. The partition happened when he was small. He was only 4 years old, and they had to come from Pakistan to India, carrying only that much. And his entire life, they had a repeated pattern: isko bech ke ye liya, isko bech ke ye liya. So that was my father's pattern. And then when I went back to my grandfather, he had the same pattern. I
Okay.
questioned my mom, and I understood that. And I just understood that this is not even my pattern, because I was born in abundance. I was born in a very rich family. Then why do I have this poverty consciousness?
Hmm.
And the moment I healed this, the whole paradigm changed for me. And from that day till today, when I want to buy something new, I manifest it rightly. I don't have to sell my old stuff.
So it's as simple as working on your own
Patterns
Just look back a little. If they kind of
match.
you are going to.
Because they're self-reflective. It's all mirroring.
So Pitru Paksh is also an opportunity to work on your own patterns. You
Of
first
course.
start getting them, and then you kind of set an intention towards that pattern
Absolutely.
somewhere or the other. You spoke about one thing about prayers. Do you think that also when I'm doing my mantra jap, or when in the Pitru Paksh, when I'm doing any kind of jap for them, indirectly I'm collecting those jigsaw puzzles, even if I'm
course.
not,
You're healing them. See,
I'm healing them. Yeah.
you're putting the stagnated energy into motion.
Yeah, into light, as you said. I'm
Into-
just putting that. So that vibration, the vibration of that mantra is helping me do that.
Yes. I'll give you an example. Like we live in an ocean of motion. It's all energy.
Yeah.
Imagine like a river or a big ocean. Now, water is meant to be in motion. Wherever water stagnates, there will be problem.
Yes.
Like, it's going to
Algae.
get infected, algae and all of that. Now, the moment I'm vibrating with mantras and all of that stuck water or that stuck energy starts moving to motion in a larger scheme of the universe, because the universe does not look at us as separate. And nobody gives us the permission that I take so much energy of the universe and stagnate it. It is a very big karma we are doing.
Okay.
Because the universe works on one for all for one. And it's very self-reflective. So if I'm holding on to, let's say, that much energy in my energy field, I'm actually holding on to the energy of the universe. And it's unfair as a collective consciousness.
So that's why mantra jap actually helps.
Oh, yes.
For your own vibrations also, and somewhere you're doing the
As a
work for your
collective.
lineage also.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful concept. And we were just talking about like the fragments when you said that, the fragmentation. What happens when you actually die?
I've written this book called Breathe, Burn and Become. That's my latest book. And one chapter is totally dedicated to death and dying.
Okay.
Because one of my subjects in my quantum physics also was death and dying, because I was very curious to understand. So basically, few hours before your death, you get this sense, okay, because now your body is becoming less matter and more energy.
Okay.
Now, what makes your body more matter is the salt. So, when you look at the ocean, it has salt in it.
Yeah.
When the salt solidifies, what does it become? Stone?
Yeah.
Similarly, in our body, salt is what is giving us solidity. Potassium, sodium, which show up as these things. Have you ever seen a person who's near death, their sodium levels, potassium levels go low, and they start feeling delusional and hallucinating?
Yes.
That's the process, because now their body is becoming more mercury and less salt, more energy, less matter, because now they're making more space to move out.
Okay.
Now, that is the time where they get this opportunity to run, their whole life runs through them. Well, this is one chance to pick up all the fragments that you've come here. Let's say you came here to pick up 20 pieces. That one opportunity you get where you can forgive someone or, let go of something, the hurt, pain, because you don't want to carry baggage and imprints in your soul. But if a soul still is staying in the ego and says, no, I don't want to, and they did wrong to me and all of that, then what happens is a fragment of your soul goes out. And also they say you have to detach yourself and surrender, because your body needs space for the soul to move out, for energy to move out. But when you're scared and attached, you're contracted, there's no space. So then what happens? And it's time for a soul to move out.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go out. Plus you have 100 people praying that they should not die, they should not die.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of clinging, that energy.
Clinging.
sort of-
The energy is clinging now.
Yeah.
But it's time for the soul to go. So a fragment moves out as much as we allow to, and the rest gets remained in. Now, these kind of patients go into coma, or they're dead, and
Yeah, they are just
they're
living.
alive, they're living.
Yeah.
But that's not the whole story. Then there are many other negative souls or negative energies hovering around, and they have no awareness that we are dead. They are hanging on in the darkness in the fourth dimension, and they are looking for structure to function. So they make room into the body, and then that soul will go into coma or into a ventilator for months and months and months and suffer.
Oh my God.
So that's why they say when it's time for a person to die, just pray that they leave in peace. You could,
And if you can use that as an opportunity to actually forgive people.
Yes.
Like, I think that going near death is accelerating the process of, removing the karmic baggage. जितना मैं
Absolutely.
fast कर सकती हूँ near my death. I think it is a good opportunity, right? Like, in
See, your death
entire
is your graduation day
life- Okay.
in college. But we've not normalized it.
Yeah.
We made it a bad thing. Life is a lie. It's an illusion. Death is the truth. And we're not even embracing it. So much drama around death.
Yeah.
And when I say drama, I don't mean, see, when somebody you care for dies, the pain that we feel is very real. That's real.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the person dying. If each one of us understood that, right, we could just normalize it. Like there's one meditation in Buddhism where we meditate and we practice dying. It's a beautiful meditation, right? I've done it many times. Like today, if I know death is coming, with ease, I'll just open my arms and I'm ready to leave and transit to another dimension. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So the soul never dies.
Yeah.
It's just I'm transmuting my energy from matter to energy.
Energy.
That's all. It's so simple.
Wow.
So these fragments then stay on. They get stuck like small pieces. So half of you is gone and half of you is stuck here in the body. Now, if it's stuck in the body, then let's say even if you die, then it's just left here in the 3D world. I have to come back again.
And that's why they say, like, कोई जा रहा है तो prayers करो, उसको energy दो,
You should
positive.
allow them to.
Let them go. Yeah.
Never, ever, ever pray for someone to stay on. And plus also, these days medical facilities, they prolong
Yeah. The
injections.
ventilator.
And yeah. So then
काफी
that
बार.
lot of suffering for the soul.
Got it. Okay. Wow. If someone who's listening today, like this podcast, we all know there's a higher self. You talk about the divine self or the higher self, which is continuously guiding us. If I want to start accessing my higher self, what is it trying to tell me? What is the first step?
So the first step to access the higher self or the higher wisdom is to heal the lower wounded self.
Okay.
Because please understand, the lower wounded self is in the dimension of density. It's wounded, it's dark, it's in a jail. You know, again, these fragments of us, they're locked up with these wounds. So even if we want to listen to the higher self, this lower self, wounded self, the voice is so loud that it will not let us connect. And obviously, when there's density in our energy field, we can't move up.
Yeah.
Right? So the first step is we need to heal our wounded self,
So that
lower
means,
self.
that means that whatever decisions I'm making, for example, because we are continuously making decisions in our lives, or we are going ahead with different. I am listening to my ego, or I'm listening to things
voice
that
of-
are put into me, and that's not my divine
Yeah. So we are listening to all the programs and the memories
memories. Yeah.
that are trapped within us.
Yeah.
And that's our ego, the voice of the ego.
The voice of the ego. Yeah.
So for me to tap into the wisdom of my higher self, the voice of my higher self, I have to quieten out this voice first and heal it.
Okay.
Right? And that's why I say for manifestation, for spiritual awakening, you need to first start from the basement cleaning. You just can't go to the 10th floor and start your work. That's bypassing.
Yeah.
Right? The higher self is that part of you. When you understand, again, from quantum physics, theory of superposition, a particle can exist in many locations
At the
at the
same
same time
Yeah.
in different frequencies, right?
Yes.
So there is a higher version of you always waiting. And there's nothing like a higher self, because when I am at level 2, I tune into level 3 by healing level 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Then I become 3, then my higher self becomes 4. Then I heal 3, then I go to 4, then I have a higher self who's 5.
So there's always a higher
There's
self.
always a higher self at another frequency, at another dimension. So this work is very constant, it's constantly progressing. And the higher we go, because we are tuning into a higher mind. And then finally, all of these fragmented superposition particles of mind have to merge into the divine oneness and become the all self.
Okay.
So at every level, there's a lower mind and a higher mind. So let's say if I'm at level 5, then my level 4 wala mind is the lower mind.
The
And I have
programming, the ego,
Yeah.
that comes from the lower mind.
lower
Yeah.
mind. Then I'm at level 5, but I have a level 6 who's higher,
Yeah.
and level 4 is lower.
Yeah.
So at every level, there's a higher and lower self. The job of a higher self is to always divinely guide us, because it's connected to the universal mind.
But are we continuously getting guided? Like when I'm feeling lost, when I'm feeling that I'm...
Absolutely.
So it's any which way is happening, right?
See, one of the first laws of the law of Hermetic principles is the law of mentalism, that states that everything in the universe is mind and was actualized from the mind.
Okay.
Now, the mind also has different, like superposition, different levels. So I have my unconscious mind, I have my subconscious mind, I have my conscious mind, I have my superconscious mind, and the levels are going higher and higher.
Okay.
Right? It really depends on whichever mind I tune into, I see that reality and I create that reality.
Okay.
Like, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say there's a building of 10 floors. Okay. Now, when I go to the first floor, I can only see the reality of the first floor. I don't know what's in the second, third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
restricted.
Then I tune into the second floor, I see that reality. But someone at the same time who's in the fifth floor has a fifth floor reality.
Yeah.
So we can tune into any self of ours, the higher we go, but we need to have a pure level of consciousness. We need to be clean inside. Our consciousness has to be light, vibrating at a certain, because the higher the frequencies, the lighter you're meant to be, the more you're meant to be in motion. Less particle, more wave.
Yeah.
So you have to be more wave, right?
Waves, yeah.
So yes, the first step is cleansing your lower
Your
self,
wounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, get your kachra out. That's
kachra
what I
out,
would say.
and then through the power of meditation, through activating your higher mental faculties.
Okay.
Imagination, intuition, willpower. So we all are blessed with certain mental faculties, and we also blessed
Are they
with,
like the byproducts of when you start doing this work, like intuition and all just come?
they come
It's a byproduct. Yeah.
because it's already inside you.
inside hai. Haan,
You're just cleaning the kachra on it. It's already there in our core strength.
Yeah.
So then the more you're working cleaning yourself, your senses become activated, your 5 senses. Then your 6 mental faculties get activated. Then we also have this ability to tune out of the material world and tune into the non-material world, clairvoyance, clairsentience, right? So all of these clairs, they get activated. And now I have access to the whole universe, material and non-material.
Non-material. Okay. Where do psychedelics, like I've heard about ayahuasca ceremonies and psychedelics, are they actually safe and useful for accessing my higher self?
See, they definitely create an altered state of consciousness. However, because it's not done potently, it takes you to a dimension where so when you're in your higher self, you can see your lower self,
Exactly, yeah.
right? So it actually depends if you have a good healer taking you through that process, because you can see all your wounds, but you can also come back re-traumatized if the healing is not done properly. Because I have a lot of people who, without doing the process rightly, they go and do these psychedelics, but they come back more wounded because now they can't fit into the material world because they've not done it organically. Versus we produce the same DMT through breath work.
Yeah.
Right? So there is through breath work, we
Correct.
produce the same kind of
Effect.
chemicals
The
or
same kind of
effect,
chemicals.
altered
Yeah.
state of
Altered state,
consciousness.
yeah.
But in that state, we are also healing. So I personally, I'm not a taker for these psychedelics because I know the natural way of doing it, more organic. Uh, but I personally feel you could also have a bad trip. And
Yeah,
it
it's
could
as you said,
leave you
like,
in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, and as you also said before, I remember that your container needs to be ready for the altered state.
And also when you understand frequencies, no? See, let's say I'm in a very, very dense frequency. And everything has to be a match to my current frequency. Now, without doing the self-work,
Yeah.
if I've taken psychedelic, I will go maybe into the polarity of a darker dimension also, na?
Yeah.
And I can see all these spirits and all of that. So this is crazy stuff. So if I have to take someone to an altered state of consciousness, I work on them for 6 months first. Like for example, a Goa retreat. Now, no breath work, no no altered state of consciousness, only childhood trauma healing and kachra cleaning 7 days. In the next retreat, level 2, we start inducing altered states of consciousness. Well, now they're clean. So I'm going to work on them for 6 months before I can take them there. So their kachra is clean and now they're ready to go into a higher state and tune into their higher self, into an altered state where they know that, oh, this version of mine is like.
Yeah. So you don't jump directly.
You don't jump.
You don't jump. Healing is all about fixing your wounds. But on the other side, we say that we are already whole and free. As you said, that we are the divine particle. Then what is it? Do I need to heal myself?
So let me give you an example, okay? So the soul within us, which is a part of the Paramatma, and we are the Atma. It's a part of the whole.
Yeah.
It is like a 100-watt bulb that's always shining.
Okay.
It'll never dim its light. So in that level, we are whole and complete.
Yeah.
But now let's imagine on that 100-watt bulb light, everybody came in through a lot of kachra for 21 years.
Okay.
So now the light is dimmed. So healing is actually kachra cleaning, jhadu marna. The light has always been there, will always remain. It is eternal. It is, you cannot conceive it, you cannot destroy it, you cannot create it. It's always been there. So at that level, we are whole and complete.
It's like a diamond with a lot of kachra in it. When you
Yeah,
take it,
so-
you're just removing the kachra and then the diamond is going to
It's
shine.
always been there.
Yeah, it's always been
And that's why we say we're not broken.
Yeah.
We were never broken. But we just accumulated a lot of baggage.
Baggage.
So healing is about removing the baggage. It's nothing like fixing something.
One more question is, how can we live more lightly so that our soul carries less baggage into the next life? So if I'm living here, how can I make my karma less, like those fragments that you said that you leave behind? What would you say that?
Just train yourself to come from a place of love always. Well, love and compassion is the lightest energy. Be free. Don't allow small things to ruffle you up. If people did something wrong to you, just let it go. But that also requires us to let go of our ego, because our ego is always coming the way and telling us that we got to people please, we got to get back to people. Our ego keeps giving us these stories. And for me, ego means edging God out. So just let go of the ego. And when you come from the soul, then you fall in love with yourself so much that even that little pinch of baggage will feel heavy for you. Right? So let's say, for example, if you hurt someone, just go and say sorry. Clean the baggage right in there. हम घर में भी तो रोज झाड़ू मारते हैं ना. It's that simple. So I'm not saying you will not make mistakes, but why can't you just sweep it off every morning when you wake up?
But then sometimes I also feel that, as you said, that karma also leke aa rahe hai. Kahin na kahin I'm carrying it from my last previous birth. And there are some things, that soul contracts where a lot of things happen from our end also where we don't want to do it. Say, वो मेरे side से भी हो रहा है, but is that the moment of awareness and I can change things from happening?
See, that is where Kriyamana Karma, the third thing, comes. So before I even start on my karmic journey of cleansing, I first need to create awareness. Because your karmic baggage is like lying in a dark basement.
Yeah.
Dark basement. You can't see it. Let's say you have a dark basement in your house that is full of dead rats. Now, to clean that basement, you need some light.
Yeah.
Awareness becomes that light. So I always tell people, first create awareness, then go into your basement to clean it. Then, when they are doing negative to you, you will not fight back with them, because you will recognize that somewhere in some lifetime I've given this to them and they're only giving me my black ball. So now I'll give them a white ball and I'm free.
Yeah. So the focus has to be entirely about you,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
about the other person
absolutely.
somewhere or
And
the
that is
other.
where Kriyamana Karma comes, where my current choices will define my future inheritance, my karmic inheritance.
Yeah, because a lot of people call it karma ki haan, matlab wo, I had to just
They
get
use
away
it to
with it.
convenience.
Convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ki
जहाँ पे मजा आया फ्री विल चेप दिया कर्मा चेप दिया किसी से कुछ
लड़
नफरत
लिया.
करनी है ओके कर्मा विल हिट यू बैक बट हाउ डू यू नो कर्मा विल हिट यू बैक और दिस वाज व्हाट केम बैक टू यू वाज कर्मा
Yeah, that's always the confusion, that are you the one who started it or
See, it's simple, it's cause and effect, and you are the cause. What they do is the effect.
effect?
Simple.
Simple.
Cause comes first,
Hmm.
and you are the cause that you put into motion in your life. But whatever you give out will come back to you. Whatever they give out is the cause they are putting into motion for them.
Yeah. So that's
It's simple,
beautiful.
cause
So
and
I
effect.
think if you can actually live here with a lot of love and compassion, and you would say that forgive people and have less baggage to carry and make your soul lighter somewhere or the other. Having those grudges is actually going to leave a lot of stagnant energy for you.
Yeah, like imagine you're going on a journey and 23 kilos allowed us to 20 kilos allowed. Hai na? Now you carry so much baggage, then we'll have to pay excess, and obviously it's a problem. So, and this journey is not even by air, it's by walking. So imagine loading so much on your poor little soul that came here to just have fun. So it's not worth it.
One last question before we end this podcast. I think there's so much takeaway. I absolutely loved having this conversation with you. I want to ask you that what kind of a, like, do you see life differently after you've experienced spirituality and quantum physics? When you've learned both of these things and you're teaching people, you've healed your wounds somewhere or the other, you know about dimensions, you talk about all of these beautiful things that exist. Do you see the world differently somewhere or the other?
Absolutely. I see it as a video game, an illusion. Nothing is real. Because for me, the world on the other side of the wheel is more real than this world. And I know, I mean, I wish I could even explain. And it's been a journey for me to get here because even I had my baggage. I had a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. I used to get triggered at the drop of a hat. So I've worked through all of that. Today, where I am, in this very blissful space, I think I'm just waiting to get back home.
Wow.
It'll be the best day of my life because I'm so ready now. When I look back into at least this lifetime, I know at least for this lifetime, if I came here to collect 20 pieces, I've collected them.
Wow.
So there's nothing. And now I can utilize the other time to enrich other people
Other
into
people,
this.
yeah. That was beautiful. I loved this conversation and I think the viewers also enjoyed it. There is so much to, I think, iske baad bhi, you're keeping a lot of thoughts. I think I'm going to keep thinking about this. This is not only about these 1 hour that we spoke about. It's going to make me think, dwell on this even more and make me go deeper. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Neha. I
Looking
think I
forward.
enjoyed this too.
Thank you so much. Oof, that episode has got me thinking, and I'm sure it is leaving you with a lot of thoughts to ponder upon. If you loved the episode, do not forget to share it with your friends and family, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Till then, keep rising and embracing in love, and do not forget, I roar you.